We live in a culture that alienates the generations from one another. That's never been God's plan or God's heart. So we're not really reintegrating the generations. Like the faith and work movement is actually integrating faith and work. We're just fleshing out that you can't like leave your faith at home and go to work. You can act like that, but you can't actually do it. And it's the same thing about the generations. Generations are connected. And so we want to flesh out how a church can help flesh that out. So Genesis 1, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. God's plan for the beginning was that God lovers who were reflecting God's glory would bring God lovers into the world who would reflect God's glory in all of life. So that's always been God's plan. So I'm just going to jump to the Ten Commandments real fast. After God has rescued his people by his redeeming grace, power, love, and strength, he puts his people, Israel, on his back like as on eagle's wings and brings them to himself at Mount Sinai. And here is the end of the second table, beginning of this, end of the first, beginning of the second. Here's the fourth and fifth commandment. The fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. God is speaking to people who've been in bondage for a long time. I've rescued you. You're not my slave. I brought you out to serve me, but every 7 days you're going to have a day of complete rest, and you're going to see that I provide for you. So the fourth commandment is remember to rest in my saving power and presence. And the fifth commandment, the beginning of the second part about loving your neighbor, honor your father and mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. You're on a journey to a place of deep, rich, and abundant blessing. So I love that the commandments there together, memory and hope. Remember that I've rescued you and I've brought you to myself to give you rest. Journey with me. I'm taking you to a place of profound hope, but one of the ways you live out that hope is by honoring your father and your mother. So part of what we want to say today is it is God's plan that the generations, the older generations, help the younger generations rest in God's finished work, remember what God has done, and that we do church, that we live as God's people in a way that facilitates the multiple generations in our churches actually attending to one another.